The United States Supreme Court appears poised to expand the President's authority to remove members of independent federal agencies, a shift that could significantly strengthen Donald Trump's executive power. At the center of the dispute is whether the 1935 precedent Humphrey s. Executor v. United States, which protects commissioners of bodies like the Federal Trade Commission (FTC) from being fired without cause, should be overturned or narrowed. If the court rules in Trump's favor, presidents would gain far greater control over agencies historically insulated from direct political influence. Supporters of expanding presidential authority argue that independent agencies today wield vast regulatory and quasi-legislative powers, yet remain only weakly accountable to the electorate. Because commissioners are not elected and cannot be freely removed, they can implement rules that affect major sectors: technology, competition, finance, consumer protection without democratic oversight. To proponents, allowing the president to remove commissioners reinforces democratic accountability, increases administrative efficiency, and restores constitutional clarity by ensuring the executive branch is controlled by the elected president, not unelected technocrats. But critics warn that dismantling the independence of these agencies would concentrate too much power in the presidency and erode essential checks and balances. Independent commissions were deliberately created to enforce rules and regulate markets without short-term partisan pressure. Removing their protections could politicize enforcement, alter regulatory stability, and weaken the consistency of long-term policy. Legal scholars also stress that overturning such a long-standing precedent would inject uncertainty into administrative law, potentially invalidating past decisions and destabilizing entire regulatory regimes. The implications extend beyond domestic governance. International investors and foreign governments rely on the predictability and neutrality of U.S. regulatory institutions. If agencies become extensions of presidential will, global confidence in the stability of U.S. markets may erode. Furthermore, critics fear such a shift would embolden future presidents of any party to reshape regulatory policy for partisan advantage, undermining the equilibrium of American constitutional democracy. In short, a ruling in Trump's favor would mark one of the most consequential realignments of U.S. executive power in nearly a century. Supporters see it as restoring democratic accountability, opponents view it as a dangerous centralization of authority. The court's decision will shape not only Trump's administration but the future architecture of American governance.